going to help us pull all of this information in together, kind of help us to look at what we have and see how we can get things started. So if you can put your hands together for Simone J., your budget bestie.
Good afternoon. So, as she said, I'm going to be talking to you all about budgeting. I'm going to try to be as fast as I can. Um, and just so you guys know that budgeting is the foundation. So, I'm your foundational person today because all of this great information that y'all got today, you can't do it without a budget. Just in case you didn't know. So you're not gonna take investing seriously. You're not gonna take life insurance seriously. You're not going to, when you purchase a home, you might get through the home buying process, but what are you gonna do if your payment for that home is not what you expected it to be? Or if you buy a home that's already built and you wanna paint it and you wanna, get something breaks in 3 months and you need to get it fixed. You never made a budget to prepare to start taking care of that home, right? So what I always tell people, something that I kind of coined and made up, is your debt is where you've been, your goals are where you're trying to go, and your budget is how you're going to get there, right? So I want to start with this scripture that I just came across the other day that really stuck out to me. Proverbs 27:23 says, "Know well the condition of your flock and pay attention to your herds." So God wants us to learn how to manage our money, so that we're able to make decisions, do everything we need to do to make sure that we can gain wealth and be successful in our finances. So 2 statistics that I came across, according to the Federal Reserve, 54% of Americans can cover unexpected $400 expense with cash on hand. Only 54%. 72% of households do not have a written financial plan. Only 28% of American households currently have a proper financial plan to help them navigate their finances. So I want to start by telling you, you need a blueprint. You need some kind of blueprint. You should be making a budget every month, whether for business or for personal. Business owners can make budgets yearly or quarterly. Personal, you should start with monthly. As you're doing everything monthly, it comes up to 1 year, and you should be closing out your budget for the year. So first thing you want to do is you want to make a list of your goals. Your goals should be detailed. List every financial goal you have, big or small. When you start the year off and you're creating your goals, smallest goal that you can think of, I have some birthdays I want to celebrate this year. Whose birthdays are you celebrating, and how much do you want to allocate toward those birthday gifts, right? It sounds like it's very insignificant, but then when the time comes for that birthday to come and you don't have the money put aside for it, you either got to go into your savings if you have a savings, or you take it from a bill to take care of the birthday gift, right? So that should be planned at the beginning of the year. So your biggest goal, retirement. Just like they've been talking about this whole time. Have you thought about how much you want to have set aside for retirement? You should start putting that money to something right now, right? So when you create your budget and you're thinking about for just this 1 year, to get to that ending retirement goal and you start saving now, how much do you want to save this year to go towards your retirement? So smallest to biggest. Make sure you create the amounts for your goal. Once you have the amounts, decide the time frame to have the amount and the amount you would need to save monthly or yearly, okay? Next thing you want to do when you're creating a budget, you want to make a list of your debts. This should also be detailed. So when you sit down and you think about your debts, think Dave Ramsey. You can think. Debt snowball. First thing I always tell people, especially because I work in a bank as well, and they come in and they want to apply for loans and all this stuff and they're still not getting approved, first thing you want to do is you want to look at your annual credit report. Look on annualcreditreport.com, look at your credit report, see what's reporting on there. What's stopping you from getting approved for these things that you're trying to get approved for? Why can't you get approved for a home? Right? So that's the first thing you want to do. Do not shorthand yourself with this. Make sure you go and look at everything that's reporting on every credit bureau. Don't just say, oh, I think I still have this, or I think I still have that. And don't choose what you want to pay off. Like Kevin said, pay these people their money. Pay these people their money. They want it. They're not going to stop trying to get it from you. And if they can't get it from you, they're going to find another way to do it, like your accounts down or garnish your wages or, whatever they can do. Some people will find a way to get their money. List your debts from smallest to largest. Make sure you record the amount that you have to pay, how much the monthly payments are, and the interest rates. Okay, this will help you plan it a little bit better when you know that information. You can also go to some of the people that you've lent from, that you've gotten your lending from, and you can ask them, well, can we work out something? I think some people do like settlements or something like that. I don't know how that works. I never do them. But try talking to them, seeing how you can work with them or what they're willing to do for you in that aspect. The reason why you want to start with those two things when you're trying to build a budget is because whatever your goals are for your monthly savings or whatever your debt payments are monthly, you're going to have to work that into your budget. Sometimes when you're looking at your debts, you may have to prioritize, right? So let's say you have a credit card. The credit card is $500. You have student loans that come up to $30,000. You may not have all the money in your budget to cover all of those things. So now you have to do some research. Can I go ahead and start working on this credit card and call the student loan lender and see, can I do a deferment? Can I pause on these payments right now while I take care of some of this smaller stuff while I work on that? And then by the time this deferment is done, hopefully I can go ahead and start working on the student loans. If Biden didn't pay off your student loans, these people want their money, okay? I was lucky enough to have mine paid. Shondo. Ooh, Jesus. I said, Lord, I'm free. The shackles is gone. But everybody didn't get that luxury. So I know for me, before I even knew that mine were paid off, I was praying. I was like, God, I don't want these student loans hanging over my head no more. I let these student loans build up on me. My loans were supposed to be $10,000. These things got all the way up to $15,000 because I kept letting them build, kept getting deferments. You don't want to keep doing that. You want to just go ahead, just tackle it. Just go ahead and take care of it. Next thing you want to do is you want to review at least the last 3 months of your bank statements. You're going to use your bank statements to create categories for your budget. Take note of how much you spend in each category and note the average. So what I always tell my clients is you want to get the last 3 months, go through each statement, get some highlighters. When you see McDonald's, highlight it pink. When you see a loan, highlight it yellow. When you see your tithing, highlight it purple. Whatever you want to do, you highlight that and you note it. After you do that, you're going to go through those statements. You're going to try at your very best if you are, if you can pay attention to little details. Add up those categories. Each category, write them down, add up how much you spent in the last 3 months in each category. And then you're going to, in each category, average how much did you spend on average those last 3 months. This is going to help you create the new budget that you're going to be doing for that current month. So now you can look at those averages and you can say, well, on average, this is what I spend on takeout. This is what I spend on giving. This is what I spend on XYZ. So this helps you to be more realistic in your budgeting. Because if you usually spend takeout $500 a month, you can't go and create a budget and say, oh, I'm not going to eat out. If you're not strong enough to not eat out, you're going to eat out. And you don't want to make that budget $100 knowing that you're probably still going to overspend. So give yourself some grace and you say, okay, well, this month I want to bring it down to $350. At some point, you're going to get to a place where you're going to start looking at yourself, and you're going to probably feel ashamed. You're going to be like, my God, what's going on? And it's going to help you. Over time, you'll start to get it. You'll start to say, okay, and you'll start to see that budget kind of come down a little bit. You'll also be able to identify other areas. Like some people, I don't know why, y'all just need to have y'all phone bill with T-Mobile, and you're paying $300 a month. I don't know why. Mine with Metro, I've been paying $80 for the last umpteen years. I have no problems. I still travel. I still get service, except when I'm on an island. But you can pay for that. Just budget for it, right? So, sometimes you can look at that. If you don't have $300, if that $300 is hurting you or is stopping you, or you can look at that, you can say, I can be saving $200 of this, $200 of this phone bill. If you are still paying on your phone, stop financing these phones. Just buy it cash. Okay, pay it off. Just pay it off. It's okay. And if you want a new one and you want to upgrade it, just pay for that one cash too. If you cannot pay for it cash, you probably shouldn't be buying the phone. I'm just saying. So that's going to help you look at those categories and figure out how can you bring down some of this stuff. So it may be something as simple as I need to switch over to another carrier. That's going to save you some money. Next thing you want to do is you want to list all your categories for said month that you're making the budget for. List all your categories that you have created from your statement and any other categories that you may not have on that statement. This is any statement. If you use a credit card, you want to print all your statements from your credit card for the last 3 months. Go through that too. See how are you managing your credit card. I have one credit card. I don't plan on getting no more. I don't want them increasing my limit no more. Don't increase. I know I'm doing good, but I want to keep it that way. You want to see what you're doing with your credit card. If you're not looking at your statements, look at them. And this will also help you get some of that debt down as well, because now you're seeing, well, you may swipe your regular card a little bit for takeout, but you know that if there's no cash in there, now you're using your credit card so much. That's where the bulk of that budget is coming from. And it's keeping you in the red. When you have debt, you're in the red. If your debt is higher than your what is it called? Yeah, what they said. If it's higher, you're in the red, right? So the idea is to get to where your assets are higher than your debts. So you definitely want to make sure you're looking at your credit card statements as well. List the categories, set an amount based on your previous spending. So like I said before, when you're creating your budget, you're looking at those previous spending amounts, and then you're making a new budget based on that. Some of those unnecessary categories that are higher than what they need to be, give yourself some grace, bring it down a little bit, and then just go from there. You're never gonna stop eating out, so you'll always have a budget for that, of course. Next thing you wanna do is write down, what did I put on here? I think I wrote that twice. Write down each category and send them out. Okay. Create a detailed paycheck budget. This is something that I do. This is something that a lot of finance budget coaches do. If you work a regular job or if you work a business as well, you should be paying yourself from your business if you have the funds to do so. If all of your money is not going back into the business and you're able to pay yourself and give yourself a paycheck. Your budget that you create at the beginning of the month doesn't have to be set in stone. So if you're married, don't argue about this. If something changes in the middle of the month, it's okay. You adjust it as you go. But that initial blueprint is there to guide you, right? And it's to let you know, like, hey, you said you was going to spend this on this month. You're kind of going over a little bit. But if you get your paycheck and your paycheck, you got a little escrow in there, you might be able to adjust it a little bit. Now you can say, okay, I can go get that outfit I wanted to go buy, or I can go buy those shoes that I wanted to buy because you got a little extra money in there. So you can adjust that. So you want to create paycheck budgets. Every time you get paid, you create a new budget based on that particular paycheck. Not for the whole month, just on that particular paycheck. And that usually helps with just kind of keeping things organized. Next thing you want to do, or last thing you want to do, is what I always do when I'm creating my budget. I input all of my bills and pay dates on a calendar. So what this does is it keeps you from paying your bills late, right? So you know when your bills are due, and if you don't, write them down so you can see. If you put it on a calendar, it helps you, okay, this is my payday. My payday is on this day, and I have bills for these 2 weeks or this week or so. So I know that all these bills should be paid on this pay date. If it go over that pay date, it's your fault because you put it on the calendar. So you should be paying your bills late. But it helps you stay on time with that. But creating that budget is going to help you as far as if you're still putting those bills on the calendar and you're still paying something late, that means that your bills are more than your funds. So when you're looking at your budget, the reason why you're creating your budget is you're also looking at what can I cut, right? So if you have 50 subscriptions, how much are all these subscriptions costing you every single month? And then you want to look at that yearly as well, because that's money that you could be saving. I have, how many subscriptions do I have? I have, I think, 4 or 5. 4, I think. It's not a lot. Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Peacock, and everybody knows Tubi is free. So 4. I have 4 subscriptions. Same 4 I've had for years. And it took me forever even to start because I like to use other people's passwords. Save me some money. But I decided to go ahead and be grown and get my own. But same 4. If there's a movie on there that I want to watch and it's not on one of the ones that I have, I just wait till they post it. They're going to post it at some point. I don't need to buy another one. Music on YouTube, I'm okay with the commercials. I am okay with the commercials. I can skip them or they'll be open in a few seconds. I don't need to pay to listen to music on YouTube. So just things like this. Creating that budget is going to help you as far as seeing what you can cut back, what you can do without. You don't need everything. If you're like me and you like to do a lot of self-care and get your nails done every month, I used to get my nails done every 2 weeks. I cut it down to once a month. Now, I don't even do it every month because I don't want to go on my savings to have to pay for my nails to be done. Now, our feet women, put that in the budget, okay? Put it in the budget. Go ahead and make it. Choose the right place that you're going to go to, put it in the budget. But those are the steps that I usually take to creating the budget. Other methods that I do want to go over before I end, how to start tracking your spending. This is another thing that's vital, a part of your budget. You're not going to be able to get these numbers right if you're not tracking your spending. So it is very time consuming. It does, it takes a little bit of some effort to do this, but you can use digital. So if you have every dollar, you can do that. You can also, if you pay for the subscription, but you don't have to. But if you have that extra in there to pay for the subscription, every dollar will allow you to hook your bank account to it. And it makes it a little bit more easier to just have those transactions coming through and you can just categorize them. But don't add subscriptions you don't need. You can always just input it yourself. Excel, things like Notion. All of these digital apps will allow you to be able to input your transactions as you're making them, and then it'll add up the cost for you. So you're able to see as you're going throughout the month what you're spending. Digital is also good because I write mine down, but then I have to go back and add everything up to see what I'm spending, whereas digital, if you're getting to like that mid-month area, you can kind of go back and see, okay, well, I'm coming to the middle of the month. I said I was going to spend this much in this area. I need to kind of slow down on this. So that's why digital is just a little bit better. For my habit of taking note of your transactions, this is everything. Every time you swipe your card, every time you use cash, take note of it. Write it down. Keep a notebook. It doesn't have to be fancy. Um, just take note of that. So when you're doing your budget at the end of the month, you're able to see where your money is going. That's the most important part. Um, when you're tracking your spending, note what category the transaction is for, just to keep things organized. Opening and closing your budget. So beginning of the month, when you're opening your budget, you write down all of your balances, create a new one for the month, create new month goals. So according to what you spent last month, let's say you gave out too much money, right? You got family asking you for money. I think everybody should have a budget for giving as well. You don't have to, you should not be going broke because other people need help that they should already be able to help themselves with, right? So if you have the same people come to you every single month saying they need $500 to pay their rent, they knew what their rent was when they signed the contract. So now you're going into the red because you're giving out money too much, right? So you want to have a budget for that as well. So you want to create a goal. Based on last month, if you gave out $1,500 to family members or whoever, and that kind of took you over your budget, well, this month, I only want to give out 1,000. That's my budget. And then that makes it easier to say no to all you yes people who don't know how to say no. I can teach you. All right? Closing your budget. At the end of the month, you want to look over everything. This is why you want to try to keep it as organized as you can throughout the month. And like I said, if you want to make it a little bit easier, you can use digital platforms. Add up all your expenses for each category to find the amount you spend. Write down the percentage of each category compared to your income. The reason why I suggest that is because there are recommended amounts that you should be spending in each category. So your home expenses, I think the recommended is 30%, I believe, like 20 to 30%. And so when you're paying your mortgage or you're paying your rent, how much of that is going towards how much of your income of that is going towards your rent or your home items? If half of your income is going towards your rent or your mortgage, that's not good. That's too much. You get that down to at least 30%. Calculate how much you saved and how much you spent to clarify if you're meeting your savings goals. So a lot of times life will happen. If you're saving money, you're probably going to have to go into it. When it comes to saving your money, you want to make sure that when you save, you're not having to constantly go back into it. So if you're having to, if you get paid and then your check is not covering all your bills, now you got to go back into your savings, the little bit that you just put in there and pull it back out, that tells you want to start cutting some stuff back. Because there's something in there that you're going over the amount that you're supposed to. Your check that you get should cover everything you need, including your savings. So that you want to just kind of track that as you're going along every month. Write down how much income you receive from every income source. This will let you know if you need to find another income source. Do you need to change jobs? Do you need to start a business? Do you something to bring in that income? We can sit here and we can create budgets all day, but if you don't have no money, you're going to always be over budget. So you got to figure out ways to bring in that income. Write down how much you've paid on debts for each month. Last thing, ways to increase cash flow. Again, look for another way to earn more income. If you just have one income and it's bringing you more than what you want, then that's good. If not, and you, just like everybody else, you want more money, look for other ways to bring in more income. The one way that has worked for me is separate your bank accounts. Kevin talked about researching banks. I have 5 banks. One of them I don't use, but I have 5 of them. This has helped me increase my income or my cash flow because all of my money is not in one place where I can easily access and spend it. So there are money in other banks I don't even touch because I'm only focused in on my spending account. So when I want to spend money, I only have a couple accounts that I'll pull from, and the money just sits in all the other places. So that helps increase my cash flow. Cut unnecessary expenses and start working towards eliminating debt. So if you're aware, if you have a lot of debt, you're aware that debt cuts from your cash flow. If you're constantly making payments on stuff, you have less money to spend. You have less money to pay on your bills. Every time I use my credit card, I have to think about that. Do I want to pay Wells Fargo back or do I want to pay myself back? A lot of the stuff that we use our credit card for, we can just use our savings and just pay ourselves back. So just think about that. That's another way to increase cash flow. Hmm. Oh, yes. Questions? That was it for me anyway. So
I just have a response. I think one of the most powerful thing a person can do is just writing all or like writing down all their expenses, like you were saying, highlighting it and going back and adding it up, and they'll see how much they're spending on eating out, shopping, subscriptions, and it is game changing. They're like, wow, we do have the money to save or to pay debts off or whatever the case may be.
yeah, going back and looking at those statements and seeing what you spent in the last 3 months, it will help. And then it's very eye opening. So
Do you have any recommendations on software or an app or anything like that? Do you use anything to?
so that's the one thing I'm not consistent in because I change up stuff 3 times a year. So I do right now. I just write my stuff down. I have I go on Etsy and I just find a good planner because I just like stuff to look cute, and I'll find a planner and there's one I'll tell you the name of it when I look at it, but it has like all the templates and I just use that. But every dollar is pretty good. It'll help you create the budget. It's a zero-based budget app, so it helps you make sure that your every dollar is accounted for. Notion is good. Notion is it's kind of like Excel. If you're not very tech savvy or you don't feel like putting stuff together, you probably don't want to use that, but it's pretty good once you get it down. And then Excel, those are pretty much the only ones that I've used though.
Okay, so
Yeah.
every dollar is.
Every dollar is pretty good and it's easy.
Okay.
It's more user friendly.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna sell.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. If you can use Excel, but if you're not like fun, if you don't feel like formulas are fun, then you don't want to use that. So, yeah.